Morning, folks. Day soap is DR Harris. This one here is named Arlington. Stick soap. That's what it looks like there on the underside under the cap. And go ahead and get this started here. It has a really nice scent to it. Not being able to put my finger on it. I've been shaving with this since now this will be the fourth shave with this setup, and I still haven't been able to put my finger on where I've smelled this scent, a scent similar to this before, but I haven't been able to put my finger on exactly where I've smelled it at. Maybe one of these days I'll remember. At any rate, I've got that stick soap today. Got the what's left of my alum block here from Phoenix Artists and Accoutrements, and you can kind of see it in there. It's just a very small piece in there. And got my Humphrey's witch hazel here. Oop, get it in there. That's all I got left. This one here's got menthol and peppermint in it. And let's see here. This is the aftershave I'm going with. This is Brut Oceans. This one here had to order from a store on eBay in order to get this one here. It's not sold here stateside, at least not that I'm aware of, that I've been able to find, but it's a pretty nice scent. It kind of goes along with the theme that this scent reminds me of, a kind of an aqua scent. And the brush I'm going to be using today, as I squeeze the water out of it, it is a one of my MAC Metalworks brush here, and this one here has a tuxedo knot in it. And this knot, and I don't know if it's typical, didn't seem to be. This particular knot seems to actually, how can you say, hold more water than some of the other knots that I've had in the past that are a tuxedo knot. Just kind of an odd knot, it seems like. Holds more water than what one would expect. Shaver of the day. This is an Occam's razor. That's what the end of the handle there looks like. And see if I can get the right side up here. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but how the open comb is on the bottom with a little bit of a bar going across there. This has a brush finish to it, but yet it still has a bit of a shine. The blade I've been using is I'm not have a whole lot of experience with a Perma sharp blade. Most of my experience has been with a blade that's been cut in half that's Perma sharp, and that blade versus this one here it's a bit different. I'm not sure why. This is how it comes wrapped. So I don't know if I got new stock, old stock. Not really that familiar with it, but my blades I use in the shave bit that are pre-cut have ink on them, you know, that says Perma sharp and all that sort of thing. And but the blade that I have is it's just a plain blade. There's no ink on it. There's no markings, no numbers. It's just a plain blade. I'll show you at the end of the shave. This will be the fourth shave on this blade. The very first shave I did end up with one weeper, just one, and it was down here. The blade was I don't know if you want to say that the blade. I think it was the blade because after that first shave, it seemed to kind of, how you say, mellow out just a bit. But the very first shave, I could feel every once in a while it seemed like it was getting pretty darn close. And I think maybe just in between the blade and the razor itself, I was just having a, you might say, a learning experience the very first time. But it's been a pretty good blade. I just kind of taken back, you know, how the blade looked when I pulled it out of the package, and I kind of wondered if this blade is different. It felt thicker, and that just might be just me. It may not be. Prior to getting started here, I've already put a hot towel to the face, and pre-shave oil is coconut oil. And yeah, this scent, my nose is working this morning. I can smell it. I can smell the soap. I know there was the first shave, it seemed like I could pick up a little bit of it as I was whipping up the lather, but it's been kind of, my nose has been kind of a part-time worker, so I hadn't always been able to pick up the scent. But the soap does whip up a lather pretty easy. And as it goes for the creaminess of this soap as opposed to the one I just used on the last video. It's a different kind of creaminess. The other soap is, how can you say, felt richer. I think that would be the best word to use. It's been a lot of fun to use. This stick is a little different when it comes how it comes out of the out of the dispenser. It seems to me when I put it back together, it's best to the way I think this cap is designed, it's best to screw the soap back down in there. In other words, not to leave it up. It seems to work better that way. Just something I've observed. I'd have to say this shaver is pretty nice. Easy to find the angle. It was just a really nice shaver. There is one thing that I did notice about this particular shaver as compared to other DE shavers, and there's been others that have a tendency to do that. Also, I'll put some soap on the end of my brush here, make sure I got plenty of soap. The razor itself, it will hold water. So when you rinse your shaver off in the water, you might want to give it a good shake, because it retains a little bit of water in there. And if you're like me and usually I have a wet lather, it might make your lather a little bit too wet for your liking. So you might want to give it a good shake when you rinse it out to get rid of that excess soap. I mean not soap, but water. Soap. I can still pick up the scent, which has been kind of odd because the past few days my nose hasn't been working all that well. You can kind of tell he didn't have any problem whipping up a lather, especially something I can say used to. I do put quite a bit of water in mine, and I guess my lather might be closer to a cream when I get done with it, instead of just maybe just a big poofy lather. This seems to work well for me. Definitely got some glide to it. Yesterday's shave, against the grain pass is when I noticed this this blade was starting to show its sign of usage, if you will. But for the fourth shave with the grain, that pass there was pretty smooth. It felt like a new blade. Like I say, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Perma Sharp in the way of a DE shaver, and I do kind of wonder maybe the two blades are different than what I'm used to with a Shavette versus a DE. Typically they just take the same blade and cut them in half, so I don't know if there's a change in the way they're doing their blades or not. Somebody that has more experience with it might be able to tell us what's going on with them. As it goes for aggressiveness of the shaver, I don't really notice an aggressiveness with this being the, I guess you might say, the full open. There's another base plate that's, I guess you might say, partially open. And then I've got another plate that has a scallop safety bar. But as it goes from being aggressive, it really doesn't feel aggressive, but it is pretty efficient, at least from my experience. The feedback, what I usually get is on the heavily populated areas. In other words, when I get closer to my chin, I usually pick up some feedback. And I kind of noticed it on the against the green pass. There's some more of the blade singing. Yesterday's it was singing pretty good. And it kind of reminded me of a straight razor shave. I could hear it like in the head, something that I'm not used to hearing. The way it sounded, you can kind of hear it vibrating or echoing, I should say, in the head, which was pretty unique for this shaver. It's just something I noticed. It's not a bad thing by any means. It did have a very unique sound, that's what I'm trying to say. I did manage to, and I think I'll use that on my next shave. I had a couple of containers that you can put stick soap in, and I made my own stick soap, if you will, out of some soap from Soap Commander. You can get this in a grab bag. That's how I got it. In this grab bag soap, I put it together in a soap stick container. I made my own soap stick out of Soap Commander soap that I got in a grab bag. And in the past I've ordered a few of these grab bags, and the grab bags, one of them, I guess you might say, would be ends of the soap from a loaf, I guess you might say, and the other grab bag was tester samples, and either one was easy to push down in there. It was I guess you might say, quite an experience doing that, because I watched a few videos and then something kind of occurred to me, using an old cleaned up deodorant container, and use one of those. And I think I'm going to do that with one. The most of the ones I've seen videos with have a screw bottom, but one that came to mind was like a Brut deodorant. Actually just has a push up at the bottom. At least that particular style does. And I was thinking about getting one of those containers, so that way you don't have to concern yourself with the post that comes up the middle. Make it nice and round, and you can have it down in there. Right through there. It really sounds different, and I doubt that the camera probably picked it up, but hear it echoing inside the head. It sounded pretty cool. Like I said, it's very unique to me. This is not the first one I've heard sing like that, but it's the first one I heard sing like that one does. Sounded pretty cool. Shave is very smooth. My face feels really good. Have to say that the post-shave feel on this soap here is pretty nice. This, depending on where you get it, what time of the year and all that sort of thing, seems to run right around the $13, $15 mark. It's not exactly like Palmolive that might be budget friendly. Arco, Derby, all those stick soaps that you can find at a much cheaper price. And it might be just what your needs are and what your wants are, but is it that much better than say like a Palmolive? Not at that price point, I don't think so. Palmolive, Arco, I get some really good shaves with those soaps. That's just what works well for me. You could be quite different, which is understandable. My experience, in other words, will be different than yours most likely. But the soap, though, it is a nice soap. That scent is pretty nice. I only have a little bit of stinging on my neck, which seems to be typical with this one here, the combination with the razor and the blade. Kind of thinking that this blade is a durable blade. It seems to last pretty well. This is, like say, the Preshave, smooth, comfortable. Can't complain about it. Probably get several more shaves out of it, but excuse me. Typically, what my thought process on the DE blades, most of the time they're one and done. A feather, a blade like that, I might use more than once, but most of the time it's a one and done. Every once in a while I'll go 2 or 3, which is not very often. Like I say, most time they're inexpensive, so might as well use a sharp blade, a clean blade, which is something if you're reusing your blades, you do want to make sure that you keep your blade clean. It kind of goes along with the ideas. Don't use a rusty one, in other words. This, go ahead and take this apart here. This is I think this weighs right around 3 ounces, I think. Trying to remember the length. Was it 3 1/4 inches, maybe 3 1/8? But here's the base plate here. Hopefully you can kind of tell what the open comb part of it looks like. It's nice. It's nice. They did a great job with this one. But once again, the blade is it's plain. There's no ink on it, no numbers. And what my experience with the blades have been cut in half, there's ink on them, and guess you might say a little bit of a salesmanship there. Just a plain blade sometimes, it's kind of, it leaves you that impression, or it makes you wonder what blade do you have, because there's no markings on it. Just kind of odd after seeing my ones that have been pre-cut. I'm going to go ahead and get to the aftershave. If this is the first time you've seen this kind of aftershave, this one here is in a glass container. I also have I guess you might say Brut in the green, as well as musk that's in a container that looks like this. Show you the restrictor here in a moment. The restrictor is, I guess you might say, just the opening of the container. It's not all that big. It's smaller than a lot of the others that I've used. Really nice. I relate this to, even though it says Oceans, kind of gives you the impression of an aqua scent. It's also a very clean scent. Smells. I really like it. It smells nice. That's what the restrictor looks like. In other words, it's just an open, small opening in the container. Usually in containers that don't have a restrictor, this opening is pretty good size. For me, it doesn't matter. It comes right on out. I use as much as I can get on my face. Smells wonderful. That pretty much wraps up my shave. It was very smooth this morning. I'm very happy with this shaver. The next shaver I'll use, I'm going to change out this base plate and use one that's about like a half open comb, and then I'll have another shave after that with the one with the safety bar. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.